My name is Dr. Maya Byfield. My business is The Phenomenal STEMist. I'm so excited to be here in Orange County because it's where I live. I live in Apopka, Florida. And I decided to make this business because I saw a need for underrepresented students to be successful in STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, math. And the best way I can do that is just provide products for parents to prepare them, whether it's a book or online STEM camps or just video podcasting. My goal is to transform this community, especially those who are underrepresented. And the way to do that is to help parents understand their children's minds and basically develop them at different stages of their lives to be prepared for a successful STEM career. Thank you so much. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Hey, everybody. How are you? It's the Phenomenal STEMist. I want to wish you guys a happy Sabbath. It's my Sabbath. I'm a Sabbath keeper, right? I rest on the seventh day, and I don't tend to do any business on the seventh day, but I don't view this as business. Rather, I view this as love through literacy. And so we're really going to get into financial literacy today. I wanted to read a text and I want to pray actually. So I want to bring some spirituality to this. Um, the text is coming from, I'm a Christian, so I'm a Christian, a Seventh day Adventist Christian. Today is my holy day, and I want to read this text, Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 7. This is coming from the New International Version. It says that the rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender. The borrower is slave. Listen, I just celebrated Juneteenth. I don't want to be nobody's slave. I don't want to be anybody's slave. I want to be totally debt free. I want to owe no one anything. How about you guys? Listen, if you don't want to owe anybody, put a one in the chat. If you don't want to owe anybody, put a one in the chat. If you don't owe anybody, put a two in the chat. Like deuces. Peace out, bank. If you don't want to owe anybody, put a one in the chat. If you don't owe anybody, put a two in the chat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, mom, what's going on? I see you watching. I see a couple other people watching. Who's watching? I think I put it in Phenomenal Financial Freedom. Guys, you have been great in Phenomenal Financial Freedom, sharing your testimonies. Yeah, my mother could put both one and two. Shout out to my mother who was totally debt free, mortgage included. Shout out to her. I want to be where you are, mommy, and I want to be there decades earlier. Listen. You guys have been great in Phenomenal Financial Freedom. Appreciate the engagement. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning on situations where those who are dreamers only had an option to take out private student loans, which are don't have the ability to be forgiven, which have exorbitant um, interest rates, some of them extremely predatory, and shout out to all the dreamers out there, those who are under DACA, who are still there. You could get out of debt too. It's not, you know, as easy as others, but listen, y'all are troopers. And I believe that though people don't have the same opportunities as others and the same privileges as others, uh, God is able to really assist you in getting you out of debt. So I'm going to jump right in. I don't want to spend that much time, but I'm going to bow my head in prayer. So won't you pray with me? Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for this Sabbath day. And I ask in a special way that you guide us into true freedom, no longer being slave to the lender, but glory and free in you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. All right, let's jump into it. Let's jump into it. And today we're talking about how to use STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, for debt reduction. For debt reduction. How to use STEM for debt reduction. Um, First step, and I put all the steps, of course, in Phenomenal Financial Freedom today. Had different people being active. The first step is to list all of your debts on a spreadsheet. All right, back to that Google or Excel spreadsheets. Technology of the day, you can list them all out. List all of your debts out. There are different types of debt, right? So you have credit card debt, you have car loans, you have student loans, you have personal loans, you have mortgages, right? What kind of debt do you have? And what is the interest rate to the debt that you have? You have to be knowledgeable of what you owe. You can't just put things to the side and just hope for the best. The only way that you can get out of I'm not going to say the only way, but I believe that the best way to get out of debt is to have a strategic plan for it. So this is just as a personal testimony myself. I had credit card debt, I had car loan debt, I had student loan debt. Credit card debt, car loan debt, student loan debt. So when I was in my late 20s and early 30s, I had a negative net worth because I had no assets. I had very little assets. I had just started the stock market in my late 20s, just getting into it, just beginning. I didn't have a house. All I had was student loans from college. Thank God I didn't take out any for graduate school. And so I had a negative net worth. But I'm telling you, when I came up on the app and I was able to list out my debts. Matter of fact, it wasn't mint.com that did it for me. I attended a seminar just like this, and I was introduced to debt freedom. I listed out. I had to have a strategic plan. I had to get rid of I was traveling a lot in my 20s. I was going to all inclusives and staying by myself in nice all inclusives. I could afford it, but I was putting it on the card and I was paying the minimum payment, not realizing that that thing jumps. Um, listen, I had a PhD and didn't truly understand the eighth one of the world, which is compound interest. You think you pay $2,000, you just pay the minimum payment. That thing is gonna balloon because if you have 20% on that thing, 20% of $2,000 is $400 added to the debt, right? So yeah, I listed it out and I realized I think the spreadsheet, what it will do is it will reveal to you your situation. And you won't know your situation. Like I didn't recognize I was in a problem till I added up my assets and liabilities and found out I had a negative network. And that put a fire in me of strategy. Of strategy. So how did I get rid of my debt? I only have a mortgage now. And my mortgage is less than people's apartments that they're paying rent monthly. So I really could add much more money to my mortgage. I could add more money to my mortgage to pay for what people are paying for a two-bedroom apartment and fully get out of debt. And that's what I'm going to do. But before I got a house, I had to get out of credit card, student loan, and car loan debt. How did I do it? All right, number 3. Number not sorry, step number 2. So after I listed my debts and I became aware of my net worth once I listed my debts and measured them against my assets and realized I have a negative net worth, that put a fire on me to get rid of my debt and increase my assets. I didn't want to have a negative net worth. I wanted to have a positive net worth. So what did I need to do? Net worth is a simple mathematics equation. Your assets minus your liabilities. I had all these liabilities, all these debts, and I had little assets. I decided I was going to turn that thing around. I'm going to have a lot of assets and very little liabilities. How did I do that? The first thing that I did was I went to a seminar like this and I learned about the snowball method. Step number 2, use data analytics to prioritize your debts. To prioritize, meaning what debt will I pay off first? There are 2 types of ways to tackle debt. Number 1 is what I use, is called the snowball method, where I literally took the minimum payment of each debt, paid them like I normally do, but I lined up all my debts in from lowest to highest debt. So let's say I had a $1,000 debt with a credit card company and I had another $2,000 with another credit card company. That's a total of $3,000 credit card debt. And then I had a student loan debt of $15,000. Praise be to God. I know people had less than that, had way more than that. So I had a $15,000 debt. And then what I should have been doing, I should have been paying it off when I was deferred. Stick a pin. Some of y'all are deferred because you're still in school and you're just letting that thing pause, or some of you are deferred because of whatever reason. I should have been paying that student loan while it was interest free while I was in graduate school. Since I didn't have a um since I didn't have any cost for graduate school, I should have been taking my stipend that I was working in grad school and paying off my debt. I should have had a plan to pay it off, that by the time I graduated in 6 years, I would have been debt free, no interest payment. And I used to say that nobody told me, but I look back in college and I remember I was sitting down in a classroom and somebody said, you can still pay your debt while it's deferred. But I didn't follow through on it. That was my mistake in college. And so I'm watching some of you out there watching. I had about 300 views on yesterday's video. What I'm saying for those of you who are watching these videos, it's not enough to watch the video and get this information. You gotta follow through on it. You gotta follow through on it. Right? So I was late in the game, but what I did was I got my first credit card, my second credit card, my student loan, my car loan. That's from smallest to highest. I didn't have a mortgage at the time. And so what I did was I attacked the smallest loan first, the $1,000. And what I did was I added an extra payment on the minimum. So let's say I was able to add $500 more. How did I do that? I didn't make any more money. I changed my W-4. I changed my W-4 and I decided to not forego a tax refund. I no longer take tax refunds. I took the extra money in my check. Some of y'all are getting thousands of dollars back in tax refunds, but you're paying the credit card man 20%. You're lending the government 0% and you're paying the credit card company 20%. Stop lending the government money. They don't care about you. So I changed my W-4 and I got an extra $500 in my tax refund. And I think I also rented my house out. I rented my house. I rented a room. So all those things allowed me to get extra money in my hand. And I took that extra money, let's say it's $500, and I added it to the minimum. So what I did was I paid off that credit card company in 2 months. And then I said, wait a second, I'm not going to stop there. It's a small win. I loved it because it was a small win. It made me feel good. That's why I like the snowball method. And then I took the $500 plus the minimum payment. Let's say it's $100, and I took $600 and I paid off the second one. Let's say the second one is $3,000. So $3,000, and you're paying $600 at a time. You're done in 5 months. So I was able. Let's say I know it was quick. I can't remember. So let's say mathematically, we're talking about math, using data, mathematics to rid of yourself of debt. I was able to get rid of 2 credit cards in 6 months. In 6 months. I'm talking about getting out of debt in 7 years. You don't think it's possible? It is possible. Mortgage included. Mortgage included. So in 6 months, I got rid of $3,000 because I changed my W-4. I stopped getting tax refunds and started to pay my debts off. And then I tackled the student loan. And then I tackled the car loan. And I was debt free. I was debt free. I got into another debt. I got a mortgage, but it's okay because it's an asset. It was a beautiful asset in 2013. I got a beautiful asset that causes me to live really cheaply now as compared to those who are renting. So I don't have a problem with taking out debts now. I don't have a problem with taking out debts, but you got to have a plan for the debt. So what about the avalanche? The avalanche would have been me taking the higher interest rate one. So I think would have worked the same way. So it makes the minimum payments, but extra payments on the higher interest rate loan. So I kind of did the same thing. The credit cards were higher, right? And the interest rate for the student loan was low. And the car, so I actually, what the avalanche would be me paying off the credit cards first, then the car loan second, then the student loan third. It's just use data analytics. They say that the avalanche method saves you more money because you're saving on the interest rate. You're saving on the interest rate. Either way, it pays it off fast. So I have a spreadsheet for you already done. You could just plug in your numbers. All right. Step number 3, use internet to earn extra money. So after you decide how much you need to pay off, you use data analytics. You say, okay, I've done the calculation. If I put $500 extra a month, I can pay my debts off in 10 years. But if I have $1,000 extra a month, then I'll be able to pay it off in 5 years or sooner. So it's like, well, I'm using these calculations. And I'm like, man, I really want to pay my debts off. I just need extra money to do so. What do? You get some apps, man. Technology. This is the technology. Get some side hustles on. I see Turo that's renting out your car, and Uber that's driving, eBay, DoorDash. There are all kinds of ways to make extra money. Podcasting, becoming a what do you call it? A digital influencer, rather than just a social media expert. I've gotten $80 from Facebook in the past 6 months. It's not a lot of money, right? It's not a lot of money, but it paid for my oxtail rice and peas last week. Right? It's not a lot of, what's the math on that? In the past 6 months, I've gotten $80. About $80 divided by 6 months. It's about $13 a month. But I don't do much work. I just make videos and post reels and stuff. Get active. Yeah. There's a way. Podcasts, selling books. I'm just giving my personal way, but there's all kinds of ways. Creating courses. There's ways to make extra money in this economy, in this technology driven economy. Mom says she needs a side hustle. You need to go to join one of those counseling apps where they hire counselors to do online counseling under a supervisor. I've been told you that, and work remotely from home. Use your computer, use your iPad, utilize your technology to do little work. All right. So after you use the internet, used apps, technological apps to create more streams of income, create a plan and use formulas. Create a payment plan and use formulas. You literally utilize Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel, and they have templates for you. You could just go and put, I need a personal payment plan template for budget. And you literally put and they give you a template, you just plug your number in and you go with that plan. You use formulas, you say, okay, and I have videos on in my program. I have videos that literally go step by step on how to make the formulas. Let's say you add extra interest to your payment because you have a $4,000 balance on a credit card. Your interest rate is 2.21%. So you have to literally add that compounding interest to it to make a calculation as to how much you have to pay off so that you can be done within 5 years. You can use formulas to plan out what you need. And when you have a plan to say, man, all I need is $1,000 extra and I will be done with um all of my debts in 10 years just by putting I need to find a way to get that $1,000. But you won't know that's all you need until you make a plan, until you use mathematical calculations. I'm talking about using STEM to get out of debt. Many of us don't understand why we're in such grave debt. It's because we don't know math. We didn't know compound interest. We didn't understand that if I took out a loan for $2,000 at 20% and I only paid the minimum payment, they would be adding $400 every year. And I would only be paying $50. $50 times 12. This is math. We are in grave debt because we don't know mathematics. $50 minimum payment times 12 is $600, right? $600. So, but they add $400, right? So if they add $400 to the $2,000, you now owe $2,400 minus your 600, you now owe $1,800. But you're like, wait a minute. I paid 600. I paid $600. 2,000 minus 600, I should only owe $1,400. Why do I owe $1,800? Because you don't understand how compound interest works. You cannot make the minimum payment. You have to get a loan for whatever you need the loan for, and then you have to make a strategic plan as to how long you are going to have that loan so you can curb those interest payments. I hope this helped you. It sure helped me back then. Me learning the snowball method was critical for my life. And I hope, you know, it helps you. Remember, you can have access to all videos that I have watched, I've screened that teach you how to do the snowball method. You can have access to Google spreadsheets. You can have access to plans for free. All I ask is that you consider getting a STEM camp for your kid or give it to purchase one for somebody else's kid. Guys, it's been great. I hope you have a awesome day. on purpose. And I hope that you really, really get out of debt. That's my goal for you. My goal for you is that you get out of debt. You guys have a good night. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Last day of the blitz. I'm going to be blitzing retirement. The last that's it. Talk to you.